No, I wouldn't mute myself on the stream. That's silly talk. Definitely wouldn't do that. You should be able to hear me. Sorry guys. Started to fly off. Broke my thread. I'm not sure if I hit the hook point or not. But more importantly, we're recovering. And getting back at it. Okay, here we go. No, I know there's a first time for everything, but in this case it didn't even happen, so. Yes, stream elements. One day I will actually take some time and set you up correctly, but today's not the day. Actually, I wasn't planning on using the Stream Elements bot at all, but unfortunately I require it for some of the other bots I run. So, since I require it, I may as well set it up. Hi! So we're just starting with a silver bead. I don't even think it's weighted. Maybe it is. Can't recall if that one is or not. Doesn't matter terribly much though. We'll assume it is. Okay, and you know what, since this is going to be its own thing, I think we're going to switch over. I was using this Carrot. I run a good number of bots. The main one I'm running for that is for their speech bot. So I have a speaker bot, and I have a streamer bot. And my speaker bot talks to me, so in my ear, you guys can't hear it unless I mess up with that as well, which I've done a couple times. But it reads all the chat out to me, so I can concentrate on tying, and I don't have to do the lowly job of reading text at the same time, which is actually very difficult when I'm trying to concentrate on tying. Alright, so we're going to switch over and do some sparkle yarn. Like I was getting at here, we were originally using this nice kind of pumpkin orange poly yarn, and we're going to switch over to this vintage sparkle yarn, which is like an early version of like an Antron. It is awesome stuff. Unfortunately, it's been out of print for almost as long as I've been around, so it's incredibly hard to find now. And I really like this orange. But yeah, I try to use every strand of this I have. For most things, you have to provide stream elements with your YouTube login, yeah. But I mean, they're a pretty big company, so I'm not really terribly worried about that. If you are concerned about it, though, you can set up like a secondary, like a moderation account. A lot of people will set up for things like plugins and bots, so they don't have full access to, you know, other aspects of your account. Which in hindsight is probably, you know, a good idea. Okay, so for this one, actually, sorry, to start off with, I'm getting ahead of myself here. To start off with, we need to tie a tippet in. For the tippet, we're just going to be using gold mylar. I'm using a thinner gold mylar. You can use thicker for tippet. Most time I find the thinner stuff just ties in better. If you get too thick when you're trying to get the curve of the hook here, like the gape, if it's too thick, it'll start to kind of curl on itself, and you'll end up with bumps and ridges, and then it doesn't, well, for lack of a better word, adhere to itself correctly. You want to be tying this in just before the barb, so in between the point and the barb. I'm probably 1 or 2 wraps actually too close to the back end, but we're going to run with it. I'm not going to have enough there for the over wrap too, and on this one I'm actually going to go with, I think, instead of the mylar on this one, because I'm kind of playing with the pattern. Oh yeah, definitely not saying that it's a safe or good option. It's just unfortunately that's the option that you got. If you want to do this kind of stuff anyway. Like, you definitely don't need their service whatsoever. But there has been, if we're talking about the more honest side of things, there has been streaming companies slash software that haven't been so honest in their practices. And as soon as word gets out in the streaming community, then of course everyone stops using it and your business model falls apart. So a lot of them are definitely incentivized to not do that, but it doesn't mean they're not going to. 'Cause, yeah, I'm sure you can imagine the publicity you would get from the streaming communities if you were legitimately going in there and mucking around in people's accounts. But it doesn't stop them from doing so. It's just a really good incentive to not. Okay, so we're just going to wrap this down. Doing our best to avoid the hook point and keeping tension. And I'm going to go probably one more wrap. Yeah, that'll do. And then we're going to bring it back up in the same manner. And we're just doing like touching turn, slide over wrap. And doing it forward and back like this will not only make it more durable for you, it's less likely to slide off. Ooh, that was close. Almost got it on the hook point there. Okay. That's a very slight concern for me, but honestly... Oh, what is with this thread? Man. I definitely didn't hit the hook point that time. Why are you breaking me? I just got a bad roll here. Let's see if I got another 8-aught kicking around. I can switch to. Nah, okay, I'm just gonna strip off a good chunk. I must have nicked it with my scissors or something in the roll at some point. I love tying with 8-aught. Classic thread because it leaves very little bulk. It's corded, or it cords up, and it's waxed. All the things I like in the thread. But the downside 8-aught is it's very snippy and it likes to break, as you can tell. You get used to tying with it though, it's just extremely thin. But that also gives you practice in rescuing your fly. There we go. Okay, now behave yourself for the rest of this fly. Okay? Come on. People want to see it being tied, not falling apart. That's not the goal here. If your thread is breaking like that a lot too, another thing it can be is your bobbin. This one has a glass bead on the top, so I don't think that's the case. But I've definitely had that happen where I've had a bobbin. They do wear out. They can get grooves in them or burrs, and once that happens, knocking my stuff everywhere. Once a burr happens, not a lot you can do. I've tried to polish them out. You can. But I just relocate my worn out bobbins to other services like lead wire. Like this one. So I mark it. The marks are coming off. But I mark it with a Sharpie so when I go to grab it I know for sure it's... I should probably remark that one. But this one has lead wire on it because it's been chewed all up. And it's shot. But I don't care. I don't care about that if I'm putting lead wire in it. So it is now for lead wire. And same if you're going to be wrapping, say, copper or any other wires. That would be a good thing to do. And then you're not wasting. It's already on a bobbin. You can keep using it. But definitely mark them. There's nothing more frustrating than having a worn out bobbin. Breaking your thread all the time and trying to figure out what's going on. So hopefully this bobbin isn't starting to wear out, because I quite like it. I'd rather it stayed with me a little longer. Okay, sorry, forgot again. Keep trying to get this body material wrapped in, but getting ahead of myself here. Okay, so we're gonna try some what's the actual name of this? Metallic thread, I guess. 200 yards. Fairly easy to find pretty much any crafty store like Michael's, what have you. Nothing terribly special. The stuff will spring all off the spool if you let go of it. So definitely don't do that. Ask me how I know. Okay, so probably cut twice as much as I need there, so I'm gonna half that. Because that's just gonna get banged up. Although, if you're tying a lot of flies, a lot of people like to have a large or a good length of material. I find it's better to stick with like a palm length. I don't really go past that. Even though it's faster, you don't have to retie it back in. If you have quite a bit of material that you're wrapping around, it always seems to get damaged. It starts to fray at the end. Gets a little banged up from your, 5th, 6th, 7th time you've put it in your material clip. There. So, I can't think of too many times, unless I'm tying like a large articulated fly, can't think of too many times where I'd really need more than, a hand length of material, especially to wrap. Or, like, I'm probably going to get 3 flies out of that hand length piece there. So, by the time I get to my 3rd fly, the back part is already starting to get a little dinged up. And I'm always more conscious of that. Now we're going to tie on the body material, which is going to be the sparkle yarn. Oh, this stuff is so good. Ugh, it's so good. Love it. I have a whole skein of this, but once it's gone, it's gone. I don't know if I'm ever going to find it again. But for like elk hair caddisses or October caddisses or stimulators with you need the orange in there, this stuff it's money. It just pops. I like it very much. Alright, so we're going to tie this off. There, thread's feeling better now. I think I must have nicked it with my scissors while it was floating around in the tool bin. Another good habit to do is not keep your thread with your other tools. It's a bad habit on my part. I normally do, for convenience sake. Alright, so we're going to wrap this all the way down, and then back, and then up, and then back, and then up again. Go down. Some nice tight wrap there by the head. Okay. And then back. We're going to stop right about the halfway mark. taper it slightly by putting a little pressure on it. Okay, and then back again, right up to the head bead, and then back into the middle of that lump, and back again. Hey Dubs, good to have you drop in. Good morning to you. Good to have you in. We're just tying a Carrot Nymph variant this morning. Nothing crazy special, but it is a killer fly for brook trout, creeks, small lakes. The brook trout and the creek trout just key in and nail on this yellow or orange color with a soft tackle. Fix that slightly. There you go. And this is this old sparkle yarn. It's probably not coming through super well in the camera. You can see all those fibers that coming off is super buggy. They're all very UV reflective. And when the sun hits it, it just glows. It's really cool stuff. Really cool. Okay, just a couple wraps, secure that, and we'll get our, actually I'll do a half hitch, and, yeah, we'll do that. We'll do a half hitch, and I'll just rotate that out with the rotary. Okay, everyone's got their personal preferences. I find I like rotating with the rotary. Trying to get this somewhat consistent here. Ribs and foil. It just seems to give it a very even segmented twist with just natural physics, as long as you keep your hands in roughly the same spot. And that's actually something when I was starting to tie I struggled with so bad was to have a consistent wrap on my ribbing and stuff. Like for instance this one rib right here, because I changed the tension on my hand, is slightly bigger than the other. But we're not gonna talk about that anymore. We're just gonna let that go. The other ones are all very consistent, so that's good. There we are. Let's just add a little flash, a little segmentation. Not even part of the original fly, I just think it looks good. And I thought we would try that over the... Where did you guys go? There you are. So these are the ones here we did yesterday that have the mylar. It's quite a thicker band of segmentation, so it stands out a lot better. So I thought I'd try the metallic thread, which is probably half the size, just to see if it would, you know, work, look good. It does kind of blend in with the sparkle yarn, but I know it's not going to show up on the camera. Once that hits the sunlight, they're both going to pop differently. I think it'll actually work quite well. So I'm just going to clean up before we move on here and I start wrapping. I'm just going to clean up the buggy fluff on the top. I don't mind leaving it on the bottom because it stimulates movement in legs, but most of the bugs around here don't have any stimulation movement on the top of them, just on the bottom. I do like to clean up my tops. And then we're going to go with a partridge soft tackle. This one too long. too long. Let's see. So, one way you can size your soft tackle, find the rachis in the middle, line it up with where your tie-off point is going to be. And you can see how far back they go, and it goes just to my tip. So this would be acceptable. So I'm looking for something that's not going to be any longer than the body. This one's probably just like a millimeter on the long side, but you're gonna lose just a whiff when you tie it in anyway with the wraps. So that's how you prep the feather, take all the fluff off. We're gonna grab just the tip, mind you. Just the tip. And gently, because these things are fragile, pull it back. There we are. And it should stand out 90 degrees to you. If it's not doing that and it's continuing to pull back forward, it's probably not going to be a good soft tackle for you. So, could have a bad feather, could just be a bad day, it's not playing ball. But if you can't get it to stand up like that, you're probably better to grab another feather and move on. Or if you're adventurous, just tie it in anyway and fight it. Show it who's boss. Okay, so we're going to tie it in. Let's see, I got the... Oh, I can move the feather slightly. Let's see, I got it tied in right at the top there. On my second and third wraps, I'm going to kind of lay it into that trough and tie the rest of it in. Hopefully that showed up there. Looks like it did. See one little whiff hanging out there. Try one more wrap on it. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to throw 1/2 hitch in there just to keep the tension down as we're wrapping. I should lock it in there. Just tighten that up. Okay. You can get your bobbin out of the way in your bobbin cradle. When I'm tying stuff off like this, I do like to keep it around. Okay, so you push this back, and it may take a few goes, but it should start to fold in on itself. And you want to have the shiny part, or the nice looking part of the feather, on the outside of the curve that you're making. For this specific fly anyway. There are a handful of flies that you want to have it the other way. Some very traditional flies. Not that there's a backwards or forwards, but would want to have it backwards. If you're having trouble tenting your soft tackle like that, one thing you can do that helps is to get your finger on there and kind of move it kind of back and forth. So you're like, well, the first analogy that popped in my head is like rolling a cigarette, but it's probably not the best analogy. Alright, and for kicks and giggles, I'm going to use the hackle pliers here. These are rotating ones. Don't need to, but I do find if I don't use the hackle pliers, when I move to the end, I just don't have quite enough space to tie it off sometimes. Well, this is more about the finish than the start in this case. And for these type of flies, where you do an upland and game bird, if you can get one wrap in, you're doing good. You want a full wrap. Anything more than that is gravy, because the feathers are very small, even on a smaller size hook. Oh, this one's kind of medium, I guess, for what I tie. This would be a, what are we tying on here? Just can't recall if this one was a 6 or an 8. It's probably a 6. Okay, gonna tie that off. Get 3 wraps in to lock it in, and then we're gonna do it again. because the rakuses on upland game birds are a bit on the fragile side. There it be. Okay. Come back here. I'm gonna clip that off. Be free. Freedom. Let's free the racus from the fly. Oop, we lost one fiber there. There we be. That turned out quite well. A lot of people, including myself, brush these after, although, whatever reason, I haven't had much luck with the brush doing much anything. Because the upland game bird feathers like to clump together, this will help to just separate them a bit for you. And as you can see, that didn't do a lot. That's good. We don't really need it to. Because she's looking good. Alright. Come on, buddy. Come on, I'm just trying to get a half inch in here. Play ball for a minute for me. There we go. Alright, so I got 1/2 inch in. You can see the thread is nicely loose. It's holding itself there. Now we can get our whip finish in. You definitely don't need to put any head cement on these. I try to put just a whiff of head cement on my tie-in point. Or I guess not tie-in point, tie-out point. What would that be? Not sure what the term for that is actually, now that I'm thinking about it. The point where my thread is tied in and finished. Which I try to do underneath, just if there is a little bit of thread that's sticking out, at least it's hidden more. Try to keep the top as nice as I can, that's where everyone looks at it. For the fishermen, not for the fish. The fish won't care. Okay, freed the thread. Let's get the head cement going here. I'm gonna do a couple of these without the bead head, because traditionally it does not have a bead head. So this will soak in to that thread collar. And in theory, increase our durability. Alright. There we go. That would be your somewhat classic. And there you have a somewhat classic Carrot Nymph. Let's just keep sagging a little bit. That's a little better. Let's move him. Oh, there he goes. Yeah, no, that's okay. Sorry guys, I'm just going to rotate this for a moment here, get that head cement dry. There you have fairly classic Carrot Nymph, which is the Western Canadian or West Coast variety of a partridge and orange. Very effective in streams, rivers, creeks for brook trout, small lakes. It's a very efficient searching pattern, especially in the fall. That orange color just seems to hit everything off in the fall. And there we go. We'll pop him in the vise here. Sorry, we'll pop him in the cork and go hang out with his friends. That's the other ones we've done. You can see one without any ribbing on it there, and these ones have your regular small mylar ribbing and a little bit thicker collars on those. Did that on purpose. And then a nice thin collar with thin ribbing for the last one that we just finished up. And he has a slightly one size up hook from the other guys. Okay, so now we're going to do the same pattern without a bead this time. What size do we want to do them on? Let's do an, I think you're an 8. Let's do an 8. So same idea as before. Just this time we're not going to go with a bead. I'm going to make kind of a small black bulbous head for it. Just you a little bit. Hi. Let's start that over again here. So we're just going to create a thread wrap, basically at the collar point here, and work our way to the back to give it a nice thread base. The more important part is where we're stopping. We want to stop right between the point and the barb. Hopefully you can see that on the camera, the thread is there. Right between the point and the barb. Because we want to have room for our tippet to start off its journey in life right before the bend. If you're starting it too far back, like back here, you're already at the bend, and it has a much higher tendency to slip. And it needs to have purchase on the flat here before we start bending the tippet back. I really thought I had some extra mylar kicking out there, but don't see it on the desk, so we're gonna pull some. Go with a hand length. Oh, this is UTC extra small gold silver. And I find that tying in the smaller tinsel to make tippets seems to work better, seems to slip less. You can definitely use a larger tinsel for this. Just have to be a little more mindful of your wraps. So bring our thread back up, tie that in the length of the body. Definitely not necessary, but it will build the body up a little bit and give us some very secure purchase. Okay, I'm just going to move my thread out of the way. This makes wrapping a little easier, but you don't have to. And I started wrapping without using my rotary. That's fine. Feel free to use your rotary. I want to tie this in with the silver side towards the hook So when you go to turn it to wrap, your silver side, or your gold side, the side we want in this case, is out and displaying its beauty. So we're going to wrap that all the way back up. So we're going to wrap like 2 layers, right? 1 layer down, 1 layer up. One other thing you can do if you find, really I find it depends more on your brand of mylar and the thickness of the mylar. If it's slippy or not, but if you're finding that your mylar is slipping a good amount while you're wrapping, or after you're wrapping, just like an absolute little whiff of head cement or super glue will probably fix that problem for you. Because it is basically just a plastic with a very thin layer, metallic layer to give you the color. And plastic is slippy, so you're gonna run into it. And yeah, for this one we're just gonna keep this rib on, but instead of okay, so we want to rib it with the gold out towards us when we're tying it back in this way. So gold facing you. Okay. And you don't have to rib it, or you don't have to tie it back in all the way like I'm doing here. You can just tie it in a little bit and then back it up like 1/4 of your shanks would be perfectly fine. I'm just going with some consistency. And then we're going to back it up again. So now the silver is facing me. And we're going to go back to the tying point. And we're going to catch our thread on the hook point and break it. That's super important. Do not miss that step. It will give you practice in tying your thread back in. Come on now. I can't blame my thread or my bobbin on that. Was 100% my fault. I was not paying attention. Just got too close to the hook point and snappy snap snap. Well, let's get that fixed up. Apparently I didn't get both in there. One sec. There we go. Yeah, let's get back at this. Alright, so silver point, or blah blah blah. Silver side should be facing you. In this case, gold side's facing you guys. Because the gold side is going to be what's showing when we go to wrap a layer. I'm going to wrap this right back to our tip tying point with at least 3 secure wraps. And then we're going to move back up so we can tie in our body material. This is going to hang out in our material clip, so it's out of our way. We'll get back to that beautiful yarn. This is our orange, like a burnt orange sparkle yarn, vintage variety. If you ever find some, hang on to it. Literally will say sparkle yarn on the pack. They used to sell them at like Kmart's and Zellers and this sort of thing. That shows you the dates it a bit for you there. Okay, so we want to leave a little bit of room for our head here. Maybe a little bobbin width, not quite a bobbin width, maybe half a bobbin width. So we got a nice clean spot tie our head in. We're gonna bring this all the way back right to that tying point again, where our tippet starts and ends. And all the way back over again. We'll get a whip finish in there, and then we can start wrapping that body up. Come on now, behave yourself. Two whip finishes. Or sorry, two half hitches. Get that up in the bobbin cradle. And then we're gonna knock our mylar out of our material clip because that's how we roll. Okay, let's get that over here. I'll flatten out that first wrap or two just so we're covering. Come on, buddy. So we're covering the black thread underneath. This first little section isn't going to get a second wrap, so we just want to make sure it's nice and clean. That looks good to me. Okay, gonna wrap all the way up. Stop right at the collar there, and then wrap back. I'm gonna get about the halfway point. Again, just kind of wiggle it back and forth a little bit to thin it, especially on the top bit. That'll give you a nice smoother transition, and then we'll wrap back again. That's building up our thorax, and when we get there, you won't guess it, we're gonna wrap back again. And back to our thorax. That'll give us a nice, that one there is a little thick. Spread that out a little. There we go. That'll give us a nice kind of torpedo shaped torpedo shaped body. And we're going to tie that in and also straighten our hook out here a bit because we're putting a little much pressure on it. Okay, clip that off. We want to leave that little bit of a collar room there to wrap our soft tackle. So we got a nice clean, flat-ish location to wrap the soft tackle. And you can save your little cut-off ends for dubbins. Excuse me, it's tea time. Let's have a tea. Oh, nice, beautiful Earl Grey this morning. Oh, good stuff. Alright, and now we're going to do 1/2 hitch just to hold our line in place and keep our tension. I'll pop that off in the rotary and we'll get that mylar rib rotored in. Not really sure what's going on there. One second. Let's try that again. I am rotating the opposite direction I normally do, but I don't think that's what's giving me some trouble, so. Let's just attempt to do this again and keep a little more consistent. We have a little bit of a ledge there that it's not liking to stick on, but we'll see if we can get it to capture. I would like to have it closer to the collar like that there. Well, she's tied in now. There it be. No, better than the first wrap, that's all that matters. And we got enough for a tippet for the next one. Okay, I'm just going to clean up our tie-in point for the hackle here. Don't need any thread buildup per se, but we want to have a clean spot to tie in. Hopefully you can see it with my finger there. It can be on a slight angle. As flat as you can get it is generally a good idea. I'm going to do a few more wraps just up front here. Yeah, that's a little better. You can have a little slight angle, but if it's on too steep of an angle, it's going to just slide forward and it won't lay back nicely for you. So you're fighting gravity. There's no point. Okay, this looks like a nice little guy. Are you long enough? See if you want to be a big boy. Yeah, I think you could work. Okay, so we're just gonna tear off fluff, prep in the feather. There we are. She's cool. Little guy. I grab tip. There we go, got tip sticking out. And gently, because these are fragile little guys, pull those back. If they're sticking straight out like that when you pull them back, you got yourself a good soft tackle. That's a good way to tell. Generally means you have a lot less fighting and it'll work out well for you. We're just going to cut that tip off, so we got this little square. Let's get back in camera focus here. Got a little square. Come on now. Not square, triangular. Squared off, triangular end. So when we tie that in, it's going to be thicker on this side than the middle where we're tying it in there. And that'll create a little more friction and also help stop it from pulling out. So we want to tie this in right at the collar. Or 1 or 2 thread wraps back is fine as well. Ugh. Come on, thread, stop bouncing around on me. Okay, when you get your first wrap in on that tie-in point, you want to get it at the tip of the triangle. Hopefully that's showing up on there. If not, I'll turn it a bit. You can see the triangle sticking out. Right there. And as you're tying it, you can pull the triangle forward with your thread direction. That'll help to lock Lock it in place. Okay, let's do that again because I just messed that completely up. Let's try that. It really wants to slide. Why do you want to slide so bad, man? I probably should have put a dip of rosin on there. Either way, we'll be fine. Just gonna bury him down here. Okay, that's all tied in. Probably a couple more wraps than was necessary, but like I said, it's acting a bit slippy on me, so we're gonna throw a half hitch in. Actually, I don't need my large half hitch tool. I need my regular half hitch tool because we don't have bead on anymore. We'll go with the regular half hitch, which is really just a fancy pen. This thing has tied off so many flies. I think I paid like $2 for it, if that, maybe. Okay, let's get a little rosin on here. Just a whiff. It's just, I'm not sure the specific role of uni thread is just not as waxed as the others, but it seems slippier. Okay, 100% BME too. Okay. Now we're gonna add just a little bit to our thread here. That first wrap to grip and tie it off. Okay, so that's not wax, that's a rosin. It's a little different. Actually, quite different because it's not a wax. It is the pitch from a pine tree. Or in this case, because this is the black one, it's got a little more birch in it. Paper birch, which gives it the black color. Okay, so we're moving these forward together. And they don't have to be flat like a flag, as long as you have a convexed edge like that. Hopefully it's coming through on the camera a bit. You'll be just fine. Typically, as long as they got the idea of where they want to go, or where they should be going, then you'll be good. Oh, bugger. Alright, 1 second. Let's do that again. That was 100% my fault. I got my wrist caught on the bobbin holder and pulled too hard. Okay, 1 second. Just gonna re-prep the feather here. I'm probably going to end up with a slightly thicker thorax head region than I wanted on this guy, but it is what it is. Again, I'm going to bring this back up to the collar. Get our triangular point out. Get the base of the triangle. And as we're wrapping, we're going to wrap down without trying to catch in extra fibers. The rest of that tying point. Come on, buddy. You want to become a soft tackle, don't you? Right, you got dreams in life. Come on. Alright. Tie this off again. So, we're a hair thicker than I'd like to be there, but it's still going to turn out just fine. And I think I'm going to actually wrap this by hand so I can feel it a little better. Benefit of wrapping with a hackle plier in this case, so it gives you a little more room to tie off. It keeps your hand free, your other finger free, to coax the soft hackle fibers back. One that's just like kinking way over here. I don't know what it's doing. Alright, we're not gonna bother with that guy. If he doesn't want to behave, he's just gonna get cut out of there. I might be able to pin him back right here. There we go. And of course, as soon as I pin him back, I get a second one on there. Now, you guys just aren't getting the memo, eh? Gotta lay it back. There's always one, though. Always. Okay, got that tied in. There we go. Couple wraps in front, another tie-in on the other side just to be secure. There we go. Got them trimmed off. Now we can build our head a little bit since we don't have a bead in this one. I'm actually going to hit up that, if I can find it here. One second. The rachis is sticking out just a hair. You can see a little white dot. I'm just going to tap it with a Sharpie. Instead of trying to completely bury it, which we probably will anyway. But then it just disappears. See? Like magic. Don't have to fight with it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna, let's build the head up just a little bit more than that. Yeah, looks good. Yeah, I got 2 half hitches in and we'll get our whip finish going. Four to 5 wraps will be fine. Flop it off there. Tighten it. Neaten up these soft tackles a little bit. There we go. Okay, we'll get some head cement, and on this one I'll just throw just a dab of Sally Hansen's to seal up that head a bit. That's head cement. I'm just gonna do the Sally Hansen's just right on top. Don't need it on the bottom. Just for durability and a little bit of shine on that head. Give it that nice kind of classic black bulbous look. There we go. Okay, we're just gonna rotate that for a minute so it dries. And there you have a classic Carrot Nymph, which is the Western Interior's version of a partridge in orange, basically. A little bit on the fatter side, with a gold tippet and a gold rib. Works a treat in any kind of brook trout environment. Small lakes, small streams, rivers, ponds, what have you. Anywhere there's brook trout or trout, they'll key in on it. It's a good searching pattern in the later season in the fall. Fun, easy to tie, good starter pattern. There it be. Let's get that back in the cork here. Yeah, it's very similar to a lot of Irish flies, actually. I really like Irish flies. I really should tie more. I just like that style, like the kind of swept back, soft tackle, spider style fly. That's all those ones, so our cork's getting pretty full. Some Royal Coachman on that side. Some Royal Prince Nymphs, and some just regular Prince Nymphs. Okay, is that enough? Let's see how many we got here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 6 is what I was shooting for, and I got 6 in there. Okay, so those ones are good and done. Just gonna enjoy some tea here for a second. And I'll figure out what I want to do for the next fly. Good to have you in, wee man. Ah, it's good tea. Just Earl Grey this morning. Ah. Well, 7 a.m. Sun's just starting to peek up. No, I've had this vise for a while now. Not quite a year yet. Pretty close to, though. It's a Barracuda Dynaking. Thing's a tank. Probably stand on it. Definitely last me a lifetime. I don't see it wearing out. The only thing I could see happening is eventually the jaws will probably fatigue and break, and I'll have to replace those. But there are replacements, so I can get them. But yeah, otherwise, I don't see any real part of it ever wearing out. Good vise, though, I have to admit. I'd say if you're tying larger flies, this jaw sets with these indentations is much better for larger hooks, like size 8 and above, 8, 6, so on and so forth, up to 1 and 2. They fit really well in those two little indentations there, and just lock the hook. It's not going anywhere. Most of the flies I tie are on the tip here. There's some little knurled. I'm not sure if it'll pick up on the camera. Yeah, regals are very common. Most people tie with, or start off with, or not start off with, but when they move from their starter vise to a regular vise, a regal traveler is normally the one that most people go with. It's probably, I don't know if it's the most common vise, but it's definitely one of the most common vices for sure. They're nice and light. They're a lot more smaller in stature. Probably more my speed, to be honest with you. I picked this one up used for like 40 bucks. I would not pay the asking price for it. I think it is overpriced. They want over $1,000 American for this vise, and it's well made. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm just not sure if it's. I don't know if it's $1,000 well made. you know, but being that it's made in America, it's got that price tag associated with it. I think the Regals are made in somewhere in Europe, France, somewhere in there. Spain, somewhere in there. Yeah, no, she's a good vice. Yeah, I was very, very happy to have that pop in. Yeah, you got to jump on those opportunities when they show up, right? Just Facebook Marketplace find. Regals made in the USA? Okay, well, there you go. Yeah, like bang for your buck, a Regal Traveler, I'd recommend that for anyone that's wants a decent vise, even if you're just starting out. If it's something you think you're going to be doing for a while, yeah, just jump right to a Regal Traveler for the money. If you're just starting and you're not 100% sure that you're going to like it, just go with a cheap Indian-made, like a Griffin style or a Thompson style vise. I tied literally tens of thousands of flies on a regular Thompson style vise. They work perfectly fine. You can pick them up for like 30, 40 bucks. There's nothing that you can't tie on them. The rotary feature's nice, but it's definitely not required for really any fly, you can do everything with a stationary vise. It just makes things nicer, it's handier, it's quicker, gives you a little more consistency on both sides of the fly. If you're doing a lot of time like I'm doing, then it definitely is helpful, but not required at all. Yeah, that is one thing I like is specifically on this one, you can't see it because it's just outside a camera frame, but there's a detent in it. So when it comes up, you'll probably hear it click. Here, I'll turn it so you can see it. So when the jaws close, when it gets right to that point, it's got like a satisfying thunk where it goes into like a detent, and it's not gonna pop out of that. Like even if I hit it, it's really on there. So I do like that very much about this vise that other vices don't have. A lot of them it's just a tension. As you apply more torque on the lever, it applies more tension and keeps your hook in place. But having that like detent stop feature is really nice because it's like it just gives me some mental security that it's not gonna come out, and it's fun to hear the thunk. It's substantial. It's kind of like, yeah, it's locked in exactly. It just gives you the mental clarity that it's not going anywhere on you. The other style vise that I like too that a lot of people use is the Regal style, where it's the opposite, where it's always under tension, and you use the lever to release the tension. Those ones are nice if you're tying a lot of quick flies, because it's always under tension. You're just always consistently have the same tension on the hook, and it's easy to just drop them out and move to the next one. So if you're tying a whole ton of, say, like zebra midges or something like that, and you're kind of production tying, then the Regal vices are nice for that way. But yeah, basically the vice's job is to hold the hook in place. So as long as it's holding your hook and your hook's not dropping out or moving or getting damaged, then the vice is doing its job. There's gobs of different styles and varieties out there. If you are going with, if you are, you know, making more of a serious hobby out of it, then I would suggest moving up from one of the Indian style, like Sunrise or, like say Griffin, the knockoff Thompson varieties. The steel they use for the jaws is much softer, and you'll get about, what was I getting on those vices for? I wore them out. Um, I'd say between 5 and 10,000 flies, and then the vices, the jaws are just kind of garbage at that point because you've put too much, put so many hooks through them that they've indentated and just like they won't hold the hook properly anymore because the steel's too soft. Yeah, a lot of people use that too. Trying to think of some famous tires that use that. Does David McPhail use them? He's got a bunch. I think anyone that's up in that level of pattern probably has a drawer full of different vices. But yeah, trying to think of a few people that run that. But yeah, the law is gonna run you more than this Dynaking anyway. That's a substantial vice too. I mean, it's girthy. It's got jaw like, and that's kind of my point. It's the yeah, Davey does. Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, and that vice, like the jaws are beefy on that one, kind of for that reason, because the tempering, the more mass you have, the better even temper you can get on something. So like I said, the only point that I think is going to fail on this is that the jaws on this are so small, and it's only half that, right? Because it's split down the middle. So when they temper this and then cut it and then retemper it, um, the tempering that they're going to get on the point of these jaws is only going to be so good. The bigger, the more mass you have and the bigger metal you have in your jaws when they're doing the final tempering, the longer it's going to last. So that's why a lot of the pros use that vice, is because you're not going to wear it out. It's going to last you an absolute lifetime. But yeah, mad money. I don't know if Davey would have paid for that or if they would have just sent him one, to be honest. I'm not sure how he gets, like, he's a very uh, chill, honest guy, but I'm not sure how much sponsorship he gets with gear like that. Not that it matters terribly much whether he paid for it himself or whether it was a sponsorship item, but you're right, the price tag on it is like a car. I didn't really have a plan for a next fly. Let's see what I got kicking around here. I got some leftover peacock, and I got a loose pheasant tail kicking around here. I do over there. One second. I could just do a pheasant tail up quick and grab my pheasant tail. And we're back. So yeah, just pheasant tail. Oh really? I didn't know they discontinued that. I know that there was like a sought after market for them, but figured it was just because it was a good vice. Like I said, it's out of my price range, so it's not something I keep informed on. Unless I found one used somewhere, but I've never even seen one for sale used, to be honest. Not around here, anyway. Yeah, we'll do up a quick pheasant tail nymph here just for kicks and giggles. And because the sun's not quite up yet, I want to go cut some wood and get some yard stuff done once the sun decides to actually wake up. But it's still dark outside. It's cloudy and cold and kind of yucky out, to be honest. And wet. But thankfully no snow yet. They're calling for some snow today. Yeah, we're gonna do a pheasant tail. Oh, I think I'll throw this one in Robert's box. I gotta do those up today too. Be gone with you. Okay, let's tie this up. I'm gonna kind of just rush through this one. I'm not gonna really, well, not rush, but I'm not gonna talk through each step on it. Hey, get a nice thread base in there. Yeah, good to have you in, wee man. You seem like my kind of people. If you want to subscribe, that'd be great. Like to see you in the streams later. Love to have you on board with our little crew. Basically do daily, if you haven't been hanging out, basically do daily live fly tying. A good bit of shorts. And I'm going to be doing a lot more long form videos come winter here. Also do some live fishing, which I'm also going to hopefully be doing a good bit more of. Ooh, come on, pheasant tails, just hang out with me for a minute here. Stay. Oh, good. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. Yeah, I'm hoping to do some more live fishing this year because got me a Starlink Mini to go with our main Starlink dish. So I will be able to bring it with me and have internets, because the problem with Canada is the internets and cell coverage sucks whenever you're at a good lake. Oh, really? Come on, mate. I felt that. That was 100% me. I hit the hook point again. I'm trying to go too quick here. I need to just chill out and get her done. Yeah. Hoping the new Starlink Mini will work out. I'll look at getting a battery pack for it. Then I can actually stream at a lot of lakes I like to fish at. Which I might be the only one in BC streaming at those lakes because there's no cell service. So that'll be fun. There. Meant this to be a quick tie and I'm already mucking it up. There we go. Back at it. Alright, so Pheasant Tail Nymph is very classic, very simple, straightforward fly. It has two materials to it. You can actually tie it with just one. If you just want to do all pheasant, you can. And your pheasant tails are going to have a slight, very slight curve to them. I like to tie mine in with the tail a little bit less than the shank length, so good sized tail. Mostly because they get beat up after a fish or two. That allows a little bit more movement in the water. And I want that right on top. That slipped on me, so we're going to move that back up. There we go. If you started on your thread base there, when you're tying your tail in, and then you crank down on the bare shank as you're moving back, that'll flare your tail out and move it on you like you didn't want. There you go. Yeah, CDL works awesome. I actually have some. Oh, where are you, that beautiful little package? Is that you? No. Where'd you go? Look at this beautiful stuff. Isn't that gorgeous? Like legitimate, like seal quality cocktailion. I have not cracked that open yet. Kind of price per feather, kind of scared to use it, but I'm going to be doing some stuff up. But yeah, it is gorgeous. Yeah, it's crazy expensive. Probably the most expensive feathers I own. But unfortunately in Canada, it's like, because you have to import it, and with all the weird import stuff that's going on, it's really hard to find any imported material for the last at least 6 months or so. Alright, so we're going to tie that in, and I'm going to bring this up. I am going to use some hackle pliers on it, but you don't need to. This particular pheasant tail is a bit older and brittler, so I'm just going to save myself the trouble. Actually, I'm going to go with the rotary hackle plier here, just because, like I said, that's a little more on the brittle side. Oh, and actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to tie in, definitely don't need to do this, but just for strength, I'm going to tie in a little bit of gold. Gold thread. Yeah, even like whiting stuff, like most of my fly shops here, you know, they'll have one or two capes on the wall, but like that's been kind of it. Getting whiting stuff up in Canada has been really difficult. And it's not like they're not trying to, they're trying to get stuff in. But we're just making do with what we got. Okay, so I'm going to overwrap the body. I'm just going to hand wrap this because I just don't 100% trust this. This is an older pheasant tail. My guess is it's probably from the 70s, so it's a little bit on the brittle side. But I've made lots of nice nymphs out of it. Once it's in there, it holds up well. It's just the getting it in is the trick. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get into the politics of all that, but I think we both know it's not helping anyone. And it's frustrating when you're, like most of my friends and audience are down south, right? And I want to just even be able to send them flies or material. It's like almost impossible right now. Just to send a small thing is gonna run me like 20 something bucks, or before I could send it for like 3. But yeah, like I said, not gonna get into that. We both know the downsides and upsides of that whole process, so it is what it is. Yeah, I got her pheasant tail body there. Since I overwrapped, I'm gonna underwrap my gold thread, and this is just gonna counter wrap it to give it a little strength. Like I said, this particular pheasant tail I'm not 100% on. As long as you take care of your materials, I mean, they'll last for almost ever, but they do. It is a natural material, so it does have a somewhat of a lifespan. There we go, it's a nice spread out tail like that. That one fiber is kind of kicking out in the bottom, but we're gonna let him just hang out there and be weird. Okay, I'm gonna throw just a little bit peacock in this because I got some tag ends on the bench here. Actually, let's tie in the let's tie in our cap first before we start getting too far ahead of ourselves. I got some damaged sections here. Come on, cat fur. Got some damaged sections on this side I'm going to use up for the cap. Because it don't matter if they're damaged for cap, thorax cap anyway. You can see here, there's some probably preening damage, it looks like to me. But you can see on this whole side is there's lots of damaged spots. Still a nice pheasant tail feather, but she's old. Said I'm guessing like 70s. It came with a lot of material that I got. But also being old, there's other characteristics to that feather I'm not going to be able to find if I just go and buy a tail rump clump or something. So I'm going to tie this in upside down. So I want to get that. Actually, I'm going to trim that off because I want to get the top of the cap like that dark banded color. So just going to trim off that first bit. And we're going to tie this one in flat-ish on top. Right up to that tying point there. Yeah, 3-4 wraps will do. I'm not too worried about that end yet. Okay, so this one's going to go straight back. And then I'm going to take the other two. And they're also going to get trimmed off. Now these other two, I want to do the opposite. I want to have... I always like this on my nymphs, where they're going to have that kind of light brown color. I'm going to crisscross this. So they're going to be tied in on an angle here. Come on, play ball with me. There we go. Yeah, so they're both going to be tied in like that on either side. And the color we want is going to be the color on the bottom. And it'll give us two nice little bands of... This one is substantially thinner than the other. I might actually double this one up 1 second here, because I don't need the whole thing. Didn't quite realize how much thinner that was than this one when I pulled it off. But yeah, you got two on either side, and then the center one. Just wondering if that's worth doubling up. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to cut this about here. Just check the color pattern on it. Yeah, good enough. And we're going to tie it on top of that one. There. Okay, well, we'll get rid of all of our tag ends. Get our peacock tied in. And yes, I know I'm kind of going overboard. For a pheasant tail, this could be a lot more simpler than I'm going with. But I like my pheasant tail, so I'm going to do it nice. Do it up proper. This guy's got a little kink right here, so we're going to try it and see if it'll hold together for that thorax. Let's get you standing up a hair for us. There we go. I do 1/2 hitch to secure it there. Get this going. Make sure I'm back enough. And we're just going to create like a nice peacock thorax lump here. I could have definitely went back quite a bit more on that cap. Gone almost like 1/3 or so of the body length, but in this case didn't do. Ugh, 1 second, that slipped on me. Let's try that again. Sun's coming up. I'm just hurrying more than I should be for no real good reason. There we go. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to have the two side caps on. separately. Get them all together. There we go. And that'll give it like almost a cheeked effect like you would have on a Carrot Nymph. At least in theory, if I got that to lay the way I want it to. Beauty, yeah, that looks good. Gives you a nice bulbous head top, but a slight color change on either side. I'm gonna save these guys for the legs. Hey Doug, good to have you in, mate. It's going good. Just playing around with a, come on brain, do your thing. Just playing around with a pheasant tail nymph here before I take off. Oh no. Probably the worst place that could have broke. Let's see if we can save it. I don't want that head to be any thicker either. Dang it. Man, I don't know what it is with this one spool of uni thread snapping on me. Might have been just old or something. A couple of those were totally 100% my fault, but there's a few there that... That's what I'm actually doing right after I'm done this. I'm going to be doing tires. That time of year we got a first kind of real snow last night. It's gone now, but it stuck around for almost a day. Okay, I really want to get some legs on this guy, but a little bit worried about that. Yeah, let's do it. Throw a little beard under him, eh? Come on now, behave yourself. Excuse me. Almost out of tea as well. Yeah, I've seen quite a few people online with... Yeah, I'm fairly far north. I mean, you guys are technically more north than I am, but... Your climate's a bit warmer with the way the ocean works. This is just a kind of messed up because I'm rushing myself a bit. Pheasant tail nymph. Definitely not the textbook I'm not proud of it, but it's definitely not as good as it could be. Hey, Glacier Shark. Sorry, mate. I didn't look up to see who it was. And Valhalla's backing. Good to have you guys. Just kind of finishing up here because the sun's coming out and I got get tires rotated and that on the vehicles. It's cold and dark and kind of miserable outside, so getting some tying in before I get out there. Yeah, I did that for a long time. It's one of those, like you said, it feels like a gamble. I got a little fluffy tuft there, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'll hit it up with a marker. It's going to disappear here anyway. I just don't want to go any closer on that and feel comfortable with it, you know. It's not going to affect the fly. It's all good. I know it's probably pretty early for you. I've been trying to do earlier streams, so unfortunately my regular audience isn't always here for me at that time, but that's when I'm going to be available daily. I'm going to try and do daily streams for a good while here, so I can be a little more consistent. And it's enjoyable for me to wake up early, have a nice tea. You know, it's quiet. Enjoy some time before I start my day. Hang out with you guys. Okay, I'm gonna hit that up with that Super Magic Super Sharpie, just to get rid of some of those fronds that are sticking through. Yeah, overall that's not a bad little nymph. Like I said, just would have liked to have the head backed up about 2 mils or a mil, so I get that tie-off point buried in. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna fish just fine. Might actually throw that one in Shark's box. Or Robert. I should actually have a day where I just sit down and tie like a couple dozen of these guys, because they just work really well. Might have got a hair of cement on that hook eye there. 1 second. I'm gonna put just a whiff of Sally Hansen's on top to secure that in. Yeah, I mean, this is a very classic Northwest pattern. They just work everywhere. Pheasant tail's magical for sure material. Okay, so if you get a little bit in your eye like I did there, because like I said, I was rushing a bit. And being a weekend, I mean, most people are still, this is the one day a lot of people can sleep in, right? 1 second. So if you get a little bit of head cement in your eye like that, just take a quill body from whatever. I keep a couple of them on my desk here and just throw them out once I get gross. Come on, buddy. Why can't I see the eye? Come on, get in there. Why are you being such a booger? Okay, We'll get to that in a second here. This is what happens when, for whatever reason, you're in a bit of a rush, right? You start making simple little mistakes. It's not that the eye is blocked. I don't know if that head cement just cured up rather quick on it, but hey, take your quill and get it in your eye and push it through. And not only will that clear your eye, it'll, if you have anything stuck there like bits of cut off or whatever. Yeah, there, as you can see, it's obviously clear. But it'll pull the, if there is any head cement, it'll stick to this, and then you can save it, toss it, whatever. But it'll actually pull off some of the head cement. Yeah, the head on that's a little chunky, but you know, I already went over that. So I'm just gonna rotate that as it dries for a second. That is a fairly classic pheasant tail. I do have the gold rib or counter wrap on it to hold everything together. But that'd be your pretty classic pheasant tail nymph, which is a really good all-around pattern up here. Pretty much all time of year because we have dragonfly nymphs in the lakes all throughout the year. So that is a good searching pattern. It's good for just dragon trolling, what have you. You just definitely want to have a handful of these in your box for sure. Yeah. Just tie it around the hook shank gap, just anywhere. Just glue it on the body. Anyway, there we go. The eye is free. I can get the, if I can get the feather through it, so that means it's fishable. But yeah, I knew the head was going to be a little tight on that one when I mucked it up there. Alright, so we'll pop that out. There's our orange guys, the carrot nymphs, our prince nymphs and royal prince nymphs, and our royal coachman. I did some royal coachman with bead heads just for glacier shark there because he wanted some bead head ones. So there you go, mate. Got some bead heads. Some weighted brass is the best ones I could find for you. I didn't have that color you wanted, but that's the closest I got on hand. So, just want to thank everyone for stopping in. And Wee Man, good to have you on board. Glacier Shark. Is Doug still here? Thanks, Doug. Valhalla, if you're still half awake. Oh, yeah. Well, that's just one of dozens of corks I got full here that I need to empty out. But yeah, been busy. Hopefully be busy every day for the next couple months here and can stream with you guys in the morning during this time. Basically, I'm going to try and start like 5 in the morning to 6:37, somewhere in there. Yeah, later. Thanks for coming out, guys. You have a good day. I'll try and get maybe some evening streams going too on the next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, somewhere in there.